Today I have three amazing multi-tools from Gerber that I want to talk to you about. These are tools you need in your collection, and we'll get to that in just a minute, but these are two of my favorite multi-tools. At the end of the video, I will go over these. This one you don't want to miss. Let's jump into it. The first multi-tool you really need to buy is the Gerber MP400. This is discontinued from Gerber's website the last time I looked, but you can buy this brand new on Amazon for $99 the last time I saw, which is the price of a Leatherman Skeletal. And this one right here has this really neat out the front opening, pliers, wire cutters, I guess, yeah, these are the crimpers in the back. A really nice size. This is a fantastic size. Open this up, the combo blade, serrated blade, regular blade, Phillips screwdriver that you can use the adapter. I think you can use the Leatherman adapter for the 1/4 inch bit driver on there. Then the flat screwdriver bottle opener. On the other side, set of scissors, the screwdriver, a flat screwdriver, a smaller screwdriver, a can opener. Now, the Gerber 400 is really cool. Let's go ahead and use these scissors. I feel like a lot of times I'm disappointed with Gerber scissors, but these might be better than I remember. So yeah, it's better if you use them this way, definitely. Yeah, those aren't too bad, actually. They're very small, so I can't really get the paracord in the whole way. Let's just test this out on a seat belt. Wow. It's actually better than I remembered. One of the fantastic things about this is you have a very long scissor arm. That is something I really like. Now, what I was trying to say is when the paracord is in here, and essentially these blades basically aren't long enough to get a full cut. It sort of squeezes the paracord out, but the part of the paracord that is in there cuts fairly well. So yeah, I really like these scissors better than I remembered. The Gerber MP400 is a pretty neat tool. Even at $100, I do think it's actually worth it. These are made in the US, one of the few tools from Gerber. Now, I think this is an older one. I think the later ones, they did not put the US a stamp on there because maybe not technically enough parts were made in the US, but it's like Leatherman where pretty much most everything is made in the US, but I don't know, maybe the plier head isn't, something like that. Now, this one right here on eBay, I have been seeing this go for around $25 to $30 sometimes. That's outstanding. That is the price of these Byberry day camping clones of like the Leatherman Wave and so forth. Definitely something to look out for. Pick this up used for $25. This was one of my first introductions to Gerber. These tools are fantastic. I think I had gotten to use one that was all painted and grimed up on eBay, and it lasted me for years. These are tools you need to get. Now, the next one is like the Gerber 400. This is the MP600. This will be a little bit larger. We'll go ahead and weigh these tools at the end and show you some measurements. This one right here will have roller markings on the outside, unlike the MP400. The MP600 will have some roller markings. Now, there are many different versions of the Gerber MP600. This is called the multiplier right here, but yeah, it started out in this form, and this is actually a great tool to get, the older version. We'll take a look at that. So the MP600 is a little bit more capable than the 400, has the same out the front pliers, has these crimpers. We've already talked about the ruler. Then on the inside, combo blade. Again, you can use the adapter, but depending on the one you can get a T-shank adapter. These are the older style ones. This is not the T-shank. This is the universal adapter. You can still find some on Amazon that fit in there. Then this is the file. Pretty nice file here. Also, can opener, the small screwdriver, the bottle opener, and then a smaller screwdriver, and then a set of scissors. Let's go ahead and check these scissors out. These look to be about the same as the MP400 scissors. I can't remember. Yeah, so pretty much the same. Yeah, those cut really nice. I like that. Let's see. I don't know if I can. Wow. Okay, there we go. That is nice. Man, I did not realize. Maybe that's because these are probably a little bit of an older one that I got off of eBay, but these are nice. Now, Gerber made many different types of pliers for the MP600. There is the rare ones that are actually like cable cutters. You barely ever find those, but the more usual ones are the blunt nose and then these needle nose, and then there are some fishing pliers that are no longer made, I don't believe, but those are a little bit more common than, for instance, they did make an exchangeable plier head version, which I do have one of the pliers, I guess, that comes with it, not the whole set. So yeah, there was different versions. Now let's go ahead and look at the previous. This was called, I think, the Mr. Pinchy, these right here. This is the blunt version, but this was essentially the forerunner to the MP600, but it does not have the locking tools. Now, all these right here, you can find these. I have been finding, I actually just have one of these in the mail. I bought this and then like 2 knives for $17 off of eBay, and that is plus shipping. That's everything. These are going dirt cheap on eBay. I'm not really sure why. These are, I think these are a steal. If you want a really good multi-tool, this one right here is rusty. I need to fix this one up. But I mean, this is well worth $20, I think, even in this rough condition, because this file right here, for instance, you get a really good file that was actually made in the US. This is one of the better files, from what I understand, on any multi-tools. These are better made implements than a lot of the Chinese multi-tools. I just feel like these are a tougher tool. Now, there are some mixed reviews, obviously being called Mr. Pinchy. Some people got some pretty big welts by using this. You have to use it correctly and understand you don't want to get your hand in between there as you're clamping down. But overall, I do see and I hear a lot of really good reviews about how tough these tools are, because these are overall pretty much protected, the inside implements. These are more the needle nose ones right here. Pretty much, I think, the same tool set with the file and the implements made here in the US. Yeah, pretty nice set of tools that you can get very, very cheap. With prices going up, these are where I would start if you want to buy a tool. If you want to buy a good budget multi-tool, I think these are the place to start, to be honest. Don't even bother about a Leatherman because the prices will be so high, but get one of these to start out with. It'll probably last you the rest of your life. Now, this is the evolution of the MP600 into something a little closer to the Leatherman Surge. This is the center drive. Now there's some replaceable wire cutters. Now Gerber did mess around with replaceable wire cutters and some other tools. These are not necessarily the best. There's some fantastic inserts you can get in these. The ones that come from Gerber are carbide and are a little brittle and they break easily. You can get some speed inserts that fix that problem. These are pretty tough plier head. Now with that, you need to make sure that the bit holder is out of the way so that you can get the plier head closed all the way. But once you figure that out, you're good to go. You've got some ruler markings on this. The great thing about this is this namesake, the center drive, you have a fantastic long bit driver. Really like that. The bit holder we've already talked about, that stores an extra bit. On this side, this is actually the rescue version. So this has the cutting hook. And then on the inside, there's some different tools like the file and then the pry tool, the awl on this one, and then the combo blade. Now this one, some of my tools are a little bit hard to get out. So here is another one that I modded with a pocket clip from a utility knife, the nice bit driver, and then the really long knife with a thumb stud. Again, the large pliers, and this has pretty much the same tool set, except this has the serrated blade. Now, some people will probably say, well, what about the dual force? What about the dual force? Well, I feel like this is a little bit more of a specialty tool because it has these adjustable pliers. I don't think that's for everyone. I think a lot of people are used to more of the needle nose, a little bit more of a specialty tool set. So while I do think it's a good tool, I don't think it will appeal to everyone. I also wanted to mention that I use a Night Eyes pocket clip on my MP400. Pretty neat. I'll fire up my scale and let's take a look at the Gerber MP400. Let's take the one without the pocket clip. This one sits on the scale at 6 ounces. Now the MP600, this one sits on the scale at 8 ounces, pretty light. And the center drive, 9.9 ounces. Let's move this over. 2 grams. Center drive, 280 grams. MP600, 226 grams. Then the MP400, 169 grams. So yeah, these are all a little lighter than their Leatherman counterparts. Let's go ahead and get a measuring tape. Now with Gerber, some people do get frustrated because the pliers stick out a little bit even when you have them closed. Some people will file them down or grind them down. Now from the end of the handle to the end, it's just about 4 inches, but by the time that pliers stick out a little bit, you're closer to 4.5. On this one, you're closer to around 5. Then with the center drive, you're actually, yeah, it's actually about the same size because that plier sticks out as the MP400. This one right here actually ends up to be a little longer because the pliers fold down so compact. Sort of fascinating. Now, before we end this episode, I've got to talk about 2 more of my favorite Gerber multi-tools. Favorite of all time is the Slim Drive because I really love to mod this. This is one of the best things Gerber ever made, is this Slim Drive. Fantastic. Now, you can get it with the knife and the driver. This one right here has a bottle opener at the end. I'm not really interested in that. All I'm interested in is the driver itself. Really, really fantastic how you can use that and mod that for other tools. Now, if it wasn't for that, probably my favorite design from Gerber, one of my favorite designs for everyday carry would have been the Gerber Flick. Now, they had a larger version, but the Gerber Flick is really, really cool. This one right here, to me, looks like it could have been Gerber's answer to the Leatherman Arc if they had perfected it. But this right here just looks a lot classier. It's pretty neat how smooth it is with the pliers sliding in and out. Everything is on the outside. Serrated blade, large set of scissors. Then on the opposite side, saw, large knife. And where it got led down is by all these little miniature tools here in the bottom. I think people were sort of put off by that. Got some little tiny screwdrivers. These are even a little hard to pull out. I think people said that the can opener didn't even work, or the bottle opener. I thought there might have been a can opener here somewhere. So I think this is probably one of the most ridiculed tools on this, was this little can opener that a lot of people said was way too small and it never worked. That is unfortunate. Gerber had such a fantastic idea with this, and I think a smaller version of this would have been great. Don't worry about these implements in the bottom. Just move these up and make a shorter version. That would have been fantastic. Put a bit driver on the outside. I would love it. And I really wish Gerber had made that, but unfortunately they didn't. This is what we have instead, but it still is a pretty fantastic tool. This one right here comes in about 4.5 inches long. Then when we bring it to the scales, let's just do a quick weight test right here. and it comes in at 251 grams, or when we move it over to ounces, around 8.5 ounces. Pretty neat little tool, definitely for some of you who enjoy collecting more obscure tools.